One. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Loan Officer Sales Huddle. It's Norm Frasconi, your host here, where we actually try to bring you great relevant topics in the industry. We're looking to bring you info on file support, technology, social media, referral partners, qualified agents, continuous education, training, AI, the all-powerful AI, and CRM strategies. So today, we're actually joined by a great friend of mine, Mr. Clint Hooper.
How you doing?
I appreciate you coming on. I'm excited to talk to you today because I've heard some great stories about the success that you've been having with you, your team, your production, and the changes that you made that are small tweaks that actually are showing huge benefits, and you're seeing some big rewards. So today we're kind of combining training with the continuous development part, and I think once we get through this this topic, which I'd like to talk about how you've been laying out the perfect mortgage consultation. Now, these are important things to do when you're working with files, working with your clients. So you've made tweaks and changes to how you originally did it, and now I think you've got the perfect mortgage consultation set up, and then kind of discuss the processes you did to bring that that's leading to the success. And the reason, I'll be quick on this, but I'm really proud of Clint and all the stuff he's done. The reason I wanted you to be here for this is I've always believed when you're getting advice from someone, you gotta check and see who it is you're taking the advice from.
True.
You want to know that they're actually like they've done the work behind it. They've got numbers and success, and they can show that. So like when I'm thinking about you, I'm like, well, how long you been in the biz? What's your team look like? What's the number in your pipeline right now? Like, are you qualified to have this conversation?
Right.
So real quick, like, how long have you been in this biz?
So, I've been with Mpire right at a year. I think last month is when I made that switch, because it was somewhere around, I think Asheville is when I first met everybody. Okay. And so that was summer. So I think it's right at a year here. I think I'm right at 2.5 years, coming up on 3 years in the business.
All right. So 3 years in.
Yes. Yeah. Next, I think next May will be my 3-year mark.
Okay. I'm going to count that then as 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Two
I squished it all together.
I know. And well, it's this big. The fish was this big. Well, so now you came on as a sole loan officer.
It did.
So one person, 2.5 years in. How many people are on your team right now?
Yeah, so within a year, I've gotten Marcy, Vanya, Carlette. Yeah, so five independent loan officers that are producing, and then I've got 2 support staff that are also loan officers, but they're serving as loan partners for the team. And then we've also got a dedicated loan partner that is for the branch. So I have 2 people that are actually just helping me with my production as I kind of figure that whole operations side out. And then we've got 1 individual that serves just as the entire branch loan partner. So yeah, in a year, a lot's happened. I mean,
you've just absolutely exploded. Yeah. Now let's the last part, because I'm literally checking your references with you right this second to see if you're qualified to give the advice we're asking you to give. These guys are here.
I hope I pass.
I hope you pass. What's your units in count right now? Like, what do you have in your production pipeline?
So right now we've got a lot closing this week. So, but roughly about 20. And this is my biggest calendar, like 30 days ever. And it's 20. I think it was 21 I had in one 30-day closing when we started this month.
2.5 years in, he's already grown a team of roughly 9, 7, 8 or 9. I'm counting. And you have 21 in a 30-day close window.
Yeah, in my own production.
Yes, yeah, sir. I like the yes, sir. That's so funny.
Sorry.
Don't worry, man. You are going to pass. So to circle back, I just want you to realize, like, we want to make sure we're grabbing people that are doing fantastic things, that are seeing huge benefits from the changes and stuff that they're noticing and making and doing. And Clint, you're more than qualified to give the advice that you're about to give. So I think in the past, your mortgage consultations, were they just over the phone? And like, so now, like, what do you do different now? What was the big changes?
Well, I think in the beginning, we all struggle with, like, what is it that we share, right? Like, what are we, we go into this wanting to advocate and help our clients. Some we overshare in the beginning, and that was a big problem of mine. Like, I was so hell bent on making sure they knew I was, like, on their side that I would confuse them I'd give too much information, right?
Let me show you all this knowledge I have.
Yeah, and overwhelm them,
yeah.
And then it got to where I was like trying to send loan estimates out, but I barely knew how to speak to them, and so they barely knew how to understand them. And then I was getting shopped on fees I couldn't even control. And I knew there's got to be a way to mitigate this. I am so sick of getting shopped all the time for fees that really aren't there. And so the further I kind of dove into it, and of course, coaching is a huge part of this. If you're not doing some type of coaching, you've got to be. I leaned all the way into coaching, and in the coaching I do, has some loan consultation, outlines and talks about how you should do the same thing every time. And there's some standard consults that are best practices to do. And one of them is your intake. Two is your actual loan consult, when you kind of review the pre-approval, what they're approved for, the fees, and just get all that out of the way. And then three, your rate lock or, kind of consultation. And then maybe a CD review toward the end. Those are the big four, I think, that you must have. And you've got to create a way to do it the same way every time once you identify what works. And so that's what I was after.
All right. So when you shifted recently because you were being shopped, and now it seems like it's not that they're not shopping you, but they're staying with you, and I think it's because they have a better understanding. So you switched from phone calls to what?
I do virtual face-to-face not interviews, but meetings. I think I'm a handshaker myself. I love to know who I'm working with. I like to look that person in the eyes. I like to read their body language. I like to know that they're genuine and they're here to help me. I know as a consumer, that's what I look for. So I really do unto others as you would, have them do unto you. What do you want? How do you want to be treated? How do you want that loan consultation going if you were a client? And having that in the forefront of my mind helped me kind of really go forward with how I do it now. And so my aim is to educate them. And I want every client and their agent, if they don't know how to read a loan estimate. I want them to, I don't go into every single details. It's more of a, hey, here's our lender fee box. This is what's driven by the lender. Here is box C. This is driven by your attorney. Here's your prepaids and escrows. This is driven by, insurance and taxes.
Yep.
And real quickly just outline hey, what's in control and what's not. And why do we overestimate? Because we want to inform you and you be prepared for the worst case scenario. So what I did is I just said, we're just going to start doing these on every one. So we get our pre-approval. Once the pre-approval is issued, we send them a nice congratulations email. We do not go over loan estimates. We send them a link with a scheduling link. They schedule that consult on their time, so they show up because it's their schedule.
Yep.
I've already done a few quotes. I did some side-by-side rates. I have their loan estimate prepared. I've cleaned it up. I've reviewed it. I reviewed my notes on them, and I asked them, before we get started, what is it that you just need to know that is driving you crazy? Two of the most common answers is what can I finance and how do you get paid? Oddly enough,
absolutely.
Those are some of the first, and it caught me off guard the first time. So what do you mean so I love that because then I get to break down even more transparently how I get paid. And I show them how it all works. But I let that lead my first initial spill. And then I review the loan estimate. I review why I overestimate. And I make sure I identify what it is that they're looking to achieve in terms of their monthly payment and show them, the changes in rates and how it affects those, just so they have an idea. And just having that, I do two things. I've educated them so they're not lost anymore. So they're confident with the numbers, right? But number two, they trust me. And they trust me.
It's huge right there.
And it's important, when you're doing this, you need to have some type of script and a flow that you do every time to keep yourself on track. But you've got to be genuine and you've got to really come at it from a place of care and desire to help them, because that's what you're doing. It's a very important transaction. And I think that's another thing that sets it apart.
That is typically one of the biggest transactions that they are going to have. When you're thinking are they going to stick me up on my call or my scheduled time? Mm-hmm. They're talking about them. Yeah, that's $350, $500, $800, $800,000. They want to take this call and they want to know, can you please break down at least these two items here? These are just ones I don't understand why they're here, why they look high. A lot of times it's title may not, when you're doing your initial one, title still hasn't gone in and kind of moved some of that around and taken some of it off. So it's very easy at that point. If us at loan officers do not take the opportunity to say, well, these are going to change, these are going to come down, it's very easy for them to see someone else who goes, oh, that seems really high, come to me. And then you end up losing, like, oh, well, I appreciate the work you did, but yours seems so high. And you're like, oh crap, but they weren't done. But you need to have that initial conversation with them, so then they realize these things are changing, and they're not caught off guard when someone goes, oh, well, this seems a bit high. Like, oh no, they actually know the answer.
They know it's
because
high.
You gave them the answer.
They know it's high, and they know why it's high.
Yeah.
I mean, even further, I know there may be loan officers from all over that watch this kind of thing. So some of you may have a different, LOS, but like in Arrive, we use smart fees. And so we have a smart fees function, and I go right into it. Hey, this is a AI generated, zip code dependent fee screen. And I'll even show some of them quickly how it works, just a quick flash. Just to let them know, like, we do this for a reason. And then my pre-generated email that I send out, it explains why I overestimate. Furthermore, I don't just send a fee sheet. I say, hey, like, these are estimated. This is why. I give them a nice little blurb. I think you should educate. But primarily, like, I go into these loan consults with like 3 big initiatives. And I want to know, what are you here for, and what are you trying to accomplish? Like, what are the big deals for you?
Yeah.
Like, are you really stressed out about closing costs? Are we stressed about a monthly payment? A little bit of both. I educate on like my approach to rate buy down and when and why I would do it. Like, it must be budget dependent. Like, you have to have that rate there to afford this house to really be worth it.
Yeah.
And then I talk about how you can roll those points in when you go to refinance, and how that's the time I feel like, you should worry about kind of getting your rate down. And then I go into education and advocacy, and like, I love the people I take care of. I want them to feel taken care of. I picture a family member on the other side of that phone, and it just makes it easier, because I would do anything for my sister or my brother. Yep. I want to make sure they know what's going on. And so I try to treat my clients the exact same way, and with that thought process.
It's an emotional time for people. It is,
and like, they feel like that's real.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know this may sound crazy to some people, but if you take and don't treat people like a number on a board, I mean, they're supporting your income, your family's future, your goals you're trying to achieve, all because this person's trusting you. So do your part and put that effort and that emotion into it.
That initial part there is what builds that trust.
Yeah, for life.
Yeah.
For life. Like, in a year,
think about a refi. There you go. Or a referral. Nuts. Kind of same thing. Like, so because you took the time to do that initial call. When we first started this, I thought it was funny, because this has come up many times. You mentioned I used to just overshare and just give so much information. And I think loan officers, a lot of us come out and it's not that we just want to show all the information, but we want to just think that we're answering everything from A to Z. And we're like, this is this, and this is this. And we're just shooting all these answers off. And then then the client, one, they walk away a little confused. Yeah. And two, you didn't ask them, what do you want to accomplish? What is the question that you have? Lead with that, and then you could finish up the rest. But that way you listen to the client, you answered the client feels good about it, and then they can hear more. But you could, instead of having a 45-minute consultation, you could have a more intimate, a more
direct approach to what they need to hear.
Yep. Yeah. And it's 15 minutes. I think these usually run right around 15, 20 minutes. But now you've got this one locked down. We're hopefully not going to be shopped. They're going to stay with you. They're going to refer their friends and family. They're going to come back for a refi. Like, I mean, all because of what you've done.
Yeah, find out what they need. Because, I mean, what are we? Like, here on the broker side, like, I think we pride ourselves on being problem solvers, right?
Yep.
I do, at least. Like, I love this side of the industry, even though I don't know the other side. But what I really love about it is my ability to, like, feel like I'm on the same side of the table as my client, because I am. I'm looking in loan sector. I'm shopping around for people. And so having that point of view, just kind of makes it all go smooth.
Now, are you using Teams, Google, Calendly, Zoom?
So
what do you?
So to go into that, like, you have to have a system to how do you do this, right? So at first, if you don't have a CRM, you need to have a good template. Save it in as a template that has, your links to schedule, like get a free Calendly account. We've got a really awesome CRM that my team has built and pretty much customized. And so we have all of this built in. So like
that will be on a super soon future broadcast.
Yeah.
But if you guys do want to check it out, what's the name of the system?
Mortgage OS.
Mortgage OS. You're going to be unbelievably surprised of what they've built out because they took all the fluff, all the bells and whistles out, and they said, as a broker, what do you want it to do? And these guys have been doing a great job. It's called what?
Mortgage OS.
Mortgage OS.
Or the Mortgage OS.
The Mortgage OS.
Like the mortgage operating system, because that's what you need. That's what I need. That's what we need. If you're in any sales role, you need a CRM that is more operationally facing. Like, what is it that I need to do every day to stay on track? And then you need something that's going to have some of these templates in there that are going to house your scheduling component, your tracking of your calls with that person, the notes on that person, and the stage of the relationship you're in with that person. So like, picture being able to have a bird's eye view of everything in your book of business. Whether it's where am I at with this real estate agent that I'm trying to work with in terms of have we had coffee together? Have we had a relationship? Have I had any leads? What stage you're at. With a client, have we just started talking? Are they pre-approved and looking? Are they under contract? Is a CD out? Like, once you have a lot of files, you want to be able to just plug in, look down, and see, I have this many clear to close, this many pending contracts. Knowing and being organized is key.
Right.
And I'm on my path to organization. I had the ideas, but I need systems to help me. And that's where this comes in, because for somebody like me who's impulsive and flight of ideas all the time and wanting to go different places in my mind with, different things I'm working on, I have to have some center to my universe. And I think that's what our CRM does for us.
All right. I like that. I know we are originally talking about the Perfect Mortgage Consultation, but some of the processes that he has set up to lead to the success that he is having, his team's having, and I think the growth that you're expecting to see this year for you and your team, it is the organization part. Definitely check out the Mortgage OS if you are interested in looking into some CRM systems. They will be on one of our future episodes that we'll be talking about. I wanted them to show some of the great systems they put in with your Perfect Mortgage Consultation process that they did. It's taken. Are you going to pre-record any messages that you can throw into the CRM to like, hey, this is Clint, I want to set up the mortgage consultation. Click on the link below, schedule it here, or you just call up and say, hey, let's jump on a video.
It depends your structure, but like the way we have our CRM set up, it's designed for with or without a loan partner. So we've got a template for both built in there. But basically, I think to answer the bigger question, like video or email, I think video is superior in all components. The trick is having that video go out to where like it's not cumbersome to open it, right? Like you want it just to play.
Yeah.
And so getting that all figured out, and I think they've gotten that done. Like initially, I just have the email and I do the video consults, but we have a loan officer on our team, Mary Lee, and she's really perfecting something that was very interesting. I heard her say like she will have pre-recorded. She'll just pre-record a presentation for each stage to where like she can review how to read it.
Yeah, each of the milestones.
And I think at the end of the day, like when you look back at all of that, we're both trying to do the same thing. Like there's basically specific stages in a loan that need some reiteration of what is expected. You need to manage expectations and make sure the client feels good in those stages. And how do you do that best? Some variants, like I think the initial loan consult, I prefer to do that post pre-approval. I will have an intake or my partner will have an intake, but either way, it'll be a quick intake with the message being, listen, we're here to help you, but we got to get a good profile on you. But following that profile, we're going to get down and dirty and we're going to get in the weeds and we're going to do some little teaching. Are you down for that? You want to get educated? You ready to learn how this stuff works? Cool. Yes. And then like it's changed like all the anxiety around when I get a pre-approval. I don't worry about them anymore. Like I don't worry at all about them because you eventually have to have this talk, right? Yep. So why not get it out of the way with a good loan estimate that's over exaggerated in the pre-approval phase? And now when you do get it under contract, say your structure, you're not the one doing your weekly pre-approval calls if you're doing those and you have a partner doing them. not that you don't want to talk to the client, but like your client knows, they trust you. They're working with your team. Your teammates calling them every Wednesday. They go into contract. You get an LE sent out. They have another one of these big overestimated things. It's floated or locked. Who knows? But you don't have that anxiety that we all have. Like, what are they going to do with this LE? Am I going to get a phone call that they don't understand what the hell's going on? Like,
did you originally think the call was going to be worse? Like after you had the call, you're like, oh, that was nothing.
I know.
Right? It was the biggest thing in the world. It's a 400-pound.
The first couple times I did them.
Like, but and now you realize like that's the easy thing to get out of the way and talk about it. And again, I want to bring this back up. If you are a loan officer who is simply like stalling that conversation, not having it at all, you're missing a huge opportunity to build the trust and rapport with your client, and they are going to be looking for someone to answer some of those questions. So you're going to end up shooting yourself in the foot.
Well, and one more too. Don't forget this. Like, you're doing yourself an injustice if you're new and you're not doing it, because anything I've ever had to teach someone, I've had to learn and dumb it down from my own brain so that I could understand it.
Yep.
So you are teaching yourself and you're becoming an industry expert in the hard stuff people don't like talking about very quickly, just by learning and breaking it down for yourself and doing your first couple calls.
Yep.
And so that is, I think, locking rates, when to lock them, and how to have discussions about LEs are probably some of the biggest anxiety drivers for new loan officers that are trying to learn the numbers and learn the discussion, learn how to talk around them. So like, if you can break down an LE to your wife or husband or family member and yourself,
practice that. Do that.
That's the way to do it. I can tell you I've done it to my friends and family and just spoke about it so I could understand how to speak about it to normal human beings.
Yeah. Ask your sales manager, your branch manager, ask somebody, a senior loan officer where you're at, to record themselves breaking one down. Listen to them do it over and over again and practice it. You have to be able to talk about the whole thing. There is a flow to going through them.
Mm-hmm.
But that training should be there for you. I really hope it is.
Yeah. And if not, you're looking for a home, we're here.
Clint is looking to talk to you. He has a fan. You absolutely have created a fantastic branch.
It's getting exciting.
It is, and you're in North Carolina.
Yes, sir.
But you're with Mpire, and Mpire is in 36 states, roughly. So, I mean, you're going to be seeing business across the country, which is,
and I am already.
Exciting.
I mean, I'm just to reiterate, I'm licensed in one state. I've done deals in Maryland, Virginia, Oklahoma, Florida, South Carolina, and of course North Carolina. And all because of just being armed with the right partner.
There you go. I like that. I like that a lot. So thanks again for joining us on the Loan Officer Sales Huddle. I really hope you do look into it. Just get in front of the camera and have these mortgage consultations. It is going to not just double the success rate. These are like a success multiplier. Do it virtual.
Yeah.
If you can't meet them, time wise, it's not convenient to meet people. Let me drive out to you. Let me drive out to you. So much time in the day. But these virtual appointments, it's absolutely gonna help you win. It's gonna help you succeed. So thanks again for being on the Loan Officer Sales Huddle. Clint, you have a fantastic trip back up. He flew down just to talk to us here. I love it. Guys, have a great week.
Thanks for having me. Y'all go kill it. Good luck.